call the order to the roll call. So we have a quorum. So we're gonna proceed with our meeting here tonight. The first order of business is the minutes from the last meeting. We need to make any changes or corrections. If not, we need to get a motion to approve them.
Motion made.
We have a first.
A second.
Got a second. Any discussion or changes or questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? All right, moving on. All right, next is new business, which is FP 2023-1, consideration of a final plat for the proposed Breedlove Road subdivision located on Breedlove Road, recently annexed into town limits. There are approximately 45 proposed lots. It's Nash County PIN number 3801-0098-3410 and 3801-0097-6541. This proposed subdivision contains approximately 62.23 plus or minus acres and will be zoned R15. So I believe we have some staff reports to.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will briefly go through the staff report. I hope everyone has had a chance to go through it. So in your packet, if you notice in the back of the packet, I've placed in there the construction plat approval process, that you have everything from that, just so we can get from beginning to the end. So that was all construction plat approval, and that was approved by town council as well. So now it's time to do the final plat approval. And in your staff report, that covers everything. And also May 2nd, the town council approved the annexation into town limits for the proposed Breedlove subdivision. And there is a slight change, so it's actually, as you've noticed, it's a slight change from the lots. It was originally approved, I believe, for 58 lots, and now they're gonna be 45 lots. And letters were mailed out just as we did before. I just did continued the same formality as I did before. And TRC met, believe we met on August the 8th, and all the members of the TRC committee were satisfied with the final plat. And we also have Mike Stocks from Stock Engineering here, if you'd like to ask him any questions or if you have any concerns. And also, just to look at page 8 in your packet, the submission of the final plat to the planning board, as I did with the construction plat. I laid those out, those regulations from section 18-372, submission of the final plat to the planning board. So that is before you as well, to show what it meets and that everything is, and how it's satisfied.
Okay.
Is this a satellite annexation?
Yes. Well, yes, it's satellite.
There's no.
The closest one
It's also volunteer.
is in the ETJ.
It's in the ETJ, but it's
Well,
not.
it's just
But
outside
it's not
of the ETJ.
adjacent to existing.
Is it adjacent to that? It's
No,
not.
no.
Okay.
It's
So
satellite.
it's satellite.
Okay.
Cottonwood subdivision would probably be the closest to it off Old Walnut Road.
Cottonwood is
It's a subdivision off Walnut Road.
Cottonwood 2 on the right.
Cottonwood.
First one you get to on the left.
Yeah, the
The
first
other
one.
ones are not. The first one is the next ones are not. They're in the
That's
TJ.
approved. Okay.
The first one with the curb and gutters inside the town.
Sure, I've got a question.
Okay.
Page 25 of the original, item 14, talking about code 1843, talks about sidewalks, and sidewalks should not be made a waiver requested by developer. Justification not meet this requirement. Where's the justification for not having a sidewalk?
I believe they were wavered from town council.
So, curiosity for Mr. Stocks or you, Sherry. So, the original conversation I heard about this was the lots, because of their size, they felt it was not appropriate to pass the sidewalks into an area where the lots were of such length, but I'm not seeing lots that exceed 150, 175 foot as a general rule, so I'm wondering, is that statement correct, that there was a conversation when this first came up, that the lots were gonna be of such width, they thought sidewalks might even be out of place, is that a correct statement? And then, can you tell me what the waiver is then?
So the waivers, everything, if you look on page from the regular meeting minutes, town council,
Yes. Yeah, I looked, and didn't see it. I'm not sure where it'll be, I'm just looking for what justification is for waiving the sidewalks.
I didn't see it either, I looked myself, to be honest with you.
And again, I wasn't in this position, but I was told again, what I said about the lots of such a size, the sidewalks might be a place, but they're such large lots, and I'm just not seeing lots that would, in my opinion, justify not having sidewalks.
Why would that matter? Would have been a
Fact
fact.
sidewalks required in the city, all
I mean,
the.
what
But
I'm
that-
asking is, why would the size of the lot even matter?
Because, again, the perception I was given months and months ago, and it was because the lots were so long, a sidewalk being there might look out of place, and I was envisioning these 500-600 foot single lots, you know, massive lots, and I could understand that, but looking at it, I'm not seeing what I thought, where she, like you
Well,
said.
if it's really continuous.
I don't think it was the size of the lot, I think it was mentioned that it was, there was gonna be behind the gutter, I mean,
or the
the ditch,
ditch.
and that wasn't gonna look right, is what the little brought to
It
us.
would look better with the curve.
I mean, I disagree, but that's what the argument was.
Yeah, okay. And another factor too, I would
And mind you, this is,
wonder if they were going from 58 lots to 35 lots, that would have had bearing on the sidewalks.
but be mindful, this was already approved by town council,
So
so
that's
it's
a
not,
done issue,
that's a done issue.
no concern of ours,
No.
even though it's
Yep.
coming back as a different type of layout.
So,
Question, not statement, but
right,
even though it's come back as different,
but that was already approved
even
for
though,
for those waivers, yes,
even though it's changed now.
yes. Because this is, well, the number of lots has changed,
And the street layout changed.
and the street layout has
So
changed.
does
And Mike
that not
Stocks he can clarify the reason for the lot change, the number of lots.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mike Stocks Engineering. Yeah, the lot change was due to the soil layout and just the availability of the septic for the design itself. So that's why it went from 58 down to 45. I don't know a lot of the history on why the council saw fit to issue the variance for the sidewalk. I will tell you that typically we like sidewalk to have connectivity to something other than, itself, inside the subdivision. This one had no connectivity. Don't know if that was a reason for them granting it or not. And secondly, when we have shoulder section DOT streets, very seldom do we put sidewalk. Now, there is a section of sidewalk on that type of street going out of town in Cypress Landing, is that what it's called? Cypress Landing, so it has been done before. But that's about the only place I could see where I know of in town where we have sidewalk on the backside of ditches. But I don't know what council's reason was, or I wasn't in that discussion.
Can you explain to me, just my knowledge, when you talk about type shoulder, what's that look like?
The shoulder,
When you say this, you name the type of shoulder and say we typically don't see it, what's that look like?
Yeah.
So I know.
so basically most streets inside the town, not all, have curb and gutter.
Right.
And they would have either a roll curb or a standard NCDOT 30-inch, 24-inch curb and gutter. And then there could be a little grass strip, and then there could be a 5-foot sidewalk, or that sidewalk could be butted right up to the back of the curb. And then it's inside the right of way, and it's maintained by the town ultimately, you know, within the town limits. When I say shoulder section, there's obviously no curb and gutter, and there's about a 6-foot shoulder of grass, and then it goes down to a ditch, South Creek Phase 2, or just your subdivisions. There's a wood part or Woodfield. Woodfield has curb and gutter part and shoulder ditches, shoulder sections in the other portion. But then there's a 6-foot shoulder, then a 3-to-1 ditch, and a 3-to-1 ditch coming back up.
So this way didn't have a soft curb.
No, sir, no curb at all. No roll curb, no curb and gutter at all.
The south would have to be beyond the ditch.
Yeah.
Then the easement has to be bigger also.
You could not put in the minimum right-of-way width, a shoulder section street and sidewalk be in the right-of-way. Could it be in an easement or an expanded right-of-way? Absolutely.
You sure you're saying it's kind of a done deal, even though this is a resubmission that's settled by council?
So unless you wanna make some type of amendment, or what is it that you're wanting, or inclined to do?
Just wondered, again, should there be sidewalks there?
Well, and I'm wondering too, is because there's no through track, is that one of the reasons maybe they have considered not having sidewalks? I don't know, but I'm just wondering, because there's only one way in, one way out.
I'm pretty sure it's because it was a volunteer annexation, was the reason was, but I'm just kind of speaking.
What would the
Myself.
speed limit be? 15, 20?
What we set by council?
Yeah.
Be 35 unless it's set as a difference, because I think,
No sidewalks, I would hope it would be slower.
I think the citywide speed limit is 35 unless otherwise stated in the city motion by council.
So on page 24, maybe that has something to do with it as well, because they asked for a waiver, for the street width. I believe for minor streets, the right of way is 60 feet, and the construction width of 28 feet, and they asked for 50 foot and 24 foot. And because it's not gonna have, curb and gutter.
So the roads are 20 foot wide.
The right of way width 50,
The roads are 24 foot wide.
24. With a 50 foot right of way.
Is that the best standard? Maybe, but
Chairman, if I may, the question about the speed limit, because it's a 24-foot wide width street, the speed limit out there will be posted at 25.
Like it works for
Yeah, and in fact, Birchwood's even narrower, that's only 22, and in most places only 20,
That's right.
along with Golfers Lane.
What's golfers 20?
I think so.
But 25 with speed bumps.
Golf, you gotta watch your mirrors.
Sherry, the final plat, it's a 60-foot right of way.
60 foot, okay.
According to the final plat, it's 60
Okay.
foot.
And the road is 20.
And that's right, 'cause I believe when I was reading, that was on the actual construction plan.
I can see for a lot of reasons why they wouldn't want sidewalks, it's just don't know me, I just don't like getting away from set rules and things, I think that's why they're there, I see a lot of reason for the variance, so I just want to bring it up.
But then two waivers are on a case-by-case basis.
And again, this was a volunteer. You didn't have to bring it to the town.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure out in town, let's say demo board and a few other things.
We had to.
Well, I think it was still in your ETJ,
Yeah.
so
So any ETA,
they didn't have to annex it, but it was in your ETJ.
they still have to have sidewalks in that case.
You could have required them and they could ask for variance, but it could have been something that council and talk about, I don't know,
Right.
about annexing versus a sidewalks.
All right, so we got any more discussion, or we have a motion, or we have?
Let me ask Ms. Stotts a question out of curiosity.
You good?
Has nothing to do with this, I'm just wondering, 25 and 26,
lots 25 and 26.
Yes, sir, up in the 1 o'clock position on the
I'm
clock.
looking at them.
Curiosity, with the retention pond there and the 50-foot tar pan, where's the house go, especially on 25?
Well, that's an existing pond, it's not a retention pond, so it's already there.
Okay,
And it has a buffer around it. The house on 25 could go to the north of it, in front of the CPNL easement, or they could get permission to cross the CPNL easement with a drive and put their house behind the easement. There's sufficient land outside of the, 100-year or, zone A, floodway line through, or flood plain line through there. And then on lot 26, it can go to the south of it, in front of it, or behind it, or on the other side of the power easement.
okay. Thank you.
And just for record, 22, 23, and 24, they could also put their house behind it. I doubt they would, but that's usable land.
And again, that didn't affect my decision, I was just looking for general information, how it works.
Glad I can answer. I will tell you that the subdivision is built, you can drive around in the street, so if you haven't been out there, you can certainly go out there. It was not seeded the last time, or grass the last time I was out there. It may be by now.
Further questions from the board?
And I will add, just for staff concern, is just to ensure that, and this is for Stocks and, well, Mr. Stocks, that I believe I mentioned to Kevin, the lots within the curve, I'm just needing some type of justification that they meet the lot width requirement at the setback line, because I have the information
Okay.
for the curve and lines, but I just need the numbers, just to make sure they meet that lot width at the setback line.
Noted. Now, do you want that on the final plat, or do you just want
Yes,
confirmation?
yeah, if you can somehow, because I believe it wouldn't, Kevin was saying it wasn't able to fit on there, on this, because it was, I guess, too many numbers and whatnot. If you could put it on that table somewhere.
You want it on the final plat?
Yes.
I got you. And that's 27, 8, 9, and 6.
Well, I emailed Kevin the list of lots,
Okay.
and I can follow up with him on
Now,
this.
just curious,
Mm-hmm.
you want them on all curved lots, not
Yeah.
just that, I got you.
Right.
Good.
Just want to ensure that they meet the lot width.
It's a fair request. Even if it wasn't fair, it's a request.
That's a fair answer.
Now, is this still gonna be a well out there for this town?
They're on town water. Mark Sheeran hired Andrews Construction and they put in the water system, and that's all been pressurized and filled. I think they still have to pull back T samples off of it, but that's about it. And our fire department was gonna make plans here real soon to go out and do a flow test to document they have adequate residual and static water pressure and what the flows are. Now, they'll have individual septics, which is part of the reason for the size, the square footage of the lots. I think Nash County Health Department requires that, they have one for now, and if it ever fails somewhere else on the lot, they can put in a second one.
So it's not an additional well for the town on this property?
Well, there's a lot that's gonna be given to the town
That's what I thought.
for a future well. I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. Yeah.
Is it a lot or just the back side of one of the lots?
No, it's a 100 by 100 foot lot.
Oh, I see it. It is behind lot 10 and lot 11.
Yeah.
It's up here, so it's it right here.
Well, which is good. So, I mean, the town, we're gonna be taking a contract to the council probably in October for our well company, RAM, to do a a look-see, make sure, to see if we can get a good producing well out there, then it would become well number 8. We have 7 right now. The first 4 are no longer in use. 5, 6, and 7 are. And this would be well number 8.
Would this be a straight flow well, or would have a storage tank on site?
Well, we could have elevated storage. We looked at the elevation of this lot, and it's the same as the west water tower at about 905 feet. You know, and that would mean, you know, obviously you want your lot to build your water tower on to be high in elevation, so you don't have to build a tall water tower to achieve the same pressures.
We may want to check that 905 foot.
Or is it 950?
I'm not sure what it is, but I don't think it's 905. But just for record, it's somewhere
Similar to,
similar in elevation. That's correct.
yeah, to the west water.
And I would point out that behind lot 4, 5, and 6, Sherry, can you slide that up a little bit? There is a portion of the land, those 2 lots right there are being recombined with those houses in front. That deal was agreed upon by the homeowners and the developer to give them to the existing lot and shorten up the proposed lots. Just, again, information.
You looking for further questions, or we're looking for a motion at this point?
Speaking about about the fire department earlier, I guess fire hydrants are.
Yeah, Chief Joyner was insistent upon there being fire hydrant every 300 feet, or so that there's no greater distance than 600 feet between hydrants.
That's every structure within 300 feet of fire.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept it.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a first, we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just clarification, the motion was to recommend to the city council that they approve.
That's right.
Fine, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's right.
And this will go before, town council on September 12th.
Okay. And moving on to the last issue of business is our next meeting will be September 26th. Do we have anything?
Pending if any items come my way.
Okay, all right, so just let us know. So we can get a motion to adjourn, it'd be great. Show what's that?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. All right, let's go home. Thank you.
Elevation is